Right, get your math books out. Let's turn to page number 45. Page number 45. Okay, now, what did we talk about yesterday? Greatest common factor. That's the biggest number that you can divide two numbers by. Okay? So the greatest common factor, the biggest number that will go into two different numbers. Okay? Now, we're going to be talking about the least common multiple. Least common multiple. Okay? Remember, a factor is two numbers you multiply together, right? Mm-hmm. Okay? A multiple, okay, is a product. Okay? What's a product?
Oh. It's like the number that it's the answer.
It's the answer to a multiplication product, right? So a multiple is also called a product. Okay? So, a least common multiple is the smallest product that we get between two numbers, okay? So, if I have the number of 9 and 15, the numbers 9 and 15, and I want to find the least common multiple, or we call it the LCM, I want to know the smallest number that both 9 and 15 will go into. Okay? Here's the thing. This number that I'm looking for cannot be less than the biggest number that we have. Okay? It cannot be less than 15 because I have to multiply something by 15 to get it. Okay? That's what a product is, right? You multiply two factors together, you get a product. The same thing goes with a multiple. You multiply numbers together to get a multiple. Okay? So, in order to figure out my least common multiple, I have to first break this down into my prime factors. Okay? We did this last week. We did this yesterday. Prime factors, okay? So, we're going to factor 9. What's a prime number that goes into 9? 3. Okay? Divide by 3 and I get 3. Right? Okay. What's a prime number that goes into 15? 3. Okay. 5. Okay. Now, I have 3, 3, 3, and 5. Okay? So, now here's where the difference between greatest common factor and least common multiple come in. Okay? Right here in the 9, I use 3 2 times, right? Mm-hmm. I only use 3 1 time here, right? So, in order to do this right, I need to use 3 2 times. Okay? And then I also have to use every other factor 1 time. So 3 here is used the most. It's 3 times 3. And then times 5. Okay? Because I have to use every factor at least once, but I use the factor that used the most that many times. So 3 is used 2 times right here, so I'm using it 2 times here. 5 is used once, so I use 5. I don't have to worry about this one because I'm already using 3. Follow along so far? Yes? We'll see. Okay? So, 3 times 3 times 5. 3 times 3 is? Times 5 is? 45. Now, does 9 go into 45? Yes, it does. Does 15 go into 45? Yes, it does. So 45 is our least common multiple between those two numbers. Let's look at another one. $10 and 12. Okay? We need to break this down into prime numbers. What's a prime number that goes into 10? Adam? 2. 10 divided by 2 is?
5.
Okay, is 5 a prime number?
No.
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 Is 5 a prime number?
Yes.
Yes, it is. The only factors for 5 are 1 and 5. What's a prime number that goes into 12?
2.
Ariel? 2. Okay. 12 divided by 2 is?
6.
What's the prime number that goes into 6?
2.
2. 6 divided by 2 is? 3. Is 3 a prime number?
No.
Yes, it is. What are the factors for 3?
2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13.
What are the factors for 3? What times what equals 3?
What?
1 times 3.
Yeah.
What's the definition of a prime number? The only factors are 1 and itself.
Yeah. Oh. So
3 is a prime number.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, we have this broken down into prime numbers, okay? So we're going to list our prime numbers. Which factor is used the most?
2.
2. Okay. And it's used the most right here in the 12, right? How many times is it used? 2 times, okay? So we're going to end up having 2 times 2. Are there any other factors that are being used?
5.
5 is being used. Anything else? 3 is being used. Okay. So now, if I multiply 2 times 2 times 5 times 3, that's going to give me my least common multiple for 10 and 12. Okay? So 2 times 2 is?
4.
Times 5 is?
1.
Times 3 is? 60. Does 10 go into 60?
No.
Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
6 times. Does 12 go into 60?
No.
Yes, it does. 5 times. Okay? So 60 is our least common multiple for 10 and 12. Let's look at number 1 here. Everybody 1A, 12 and 18. Get your pencils out. We're going to do this all together. 1A. The very first thing we're going to do is, what's the very first thing we do?
We find a division that goes into
Division of primes, right? Okay. So, Tony, do you want to start with the 12 or the 18? 12. Okay, let's start with the 12. What's a prime number, Olive, that goes into 12? 2. 2. Okay. 12 divided by 2, Shane? 6. Okay. Josiah, what's a prime number that goes into 6? What? 3. Okay. 6 divided by 3, Adam?
2.
2. Is 2 a prime number?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Okay. Tristan, let's go to 18. What's the prime number that goes into 18? 2. Okay. Now, what's 18 divided by 2?
9.
Gavin, 18 divided by 2?
8. No.
9. Okay. What's a prime number that goes into 9, Ariel? 3. What's 9 divided by 3, Landon? 3. Okay, now, this is a good problem, okay? Because we have 2, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3. What factor is used the most?
Oh!
No. No.
0.
No. 2 and 3. Okay? Because 2 is used twice right here, and 3 is used twice right here, we're going to use them both. We don't need to worry about that because we use 2 right here. Don't need to worry about that because we use 3's right here. So, we're going to multiply 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, and that's going to give us what number?
6.
No.
36.
What?
36.
36. 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12, times 3 is 36. Or you can do 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 3 is 6, 6 times 6 is 36. Okay? Remember, multiplication, it doesn't matter the order that you do it in, you'll still get the same answer. Okay? So, the LCM for 12 and 18 is 36. Does 12 go into 36?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Does 18 go into 36?
Yes.
Yes, it does. Okay? Now, I want you guys to do B, C, D, and E. B, C, D, and E. I'll give 2 tickets if you get them right on the first time. 2 tickets for each problem on the first time. Yes. Yes, you can do them on whiteboards. Yes, you can go get a whiteboard. Oh, hey, only if you have markers. I don't have markers for you guys. Otherwise, do it on paper. we're going to look at letter D.
I'm doing it.
Letter D, as in dog. We have 5 and 9. Okay? We need to break 5 up into prime numbers, 1 and 5. Done. Put the boards down, sit down. We need to break 9 down into prime numbers. What's prime numbers for 9? 3. Okay? What factor is used the most? 3. So you have 3 times 3. Okay? So because it's used the most right here in this one, we have to use both of them. Now, 3 is not used at all over here, is it? But we still have a factor that's not being used. We've got to make sure we use this factor, so we multiply times 5. Okay? So that's why we cross out other factors, is because if I were to have okay? If I were to have 10 and 5. Okay? If I were to have 10, I'd have to have 2 and 5, so I'd have to use 2 as well. I've got to make sure I use every factor at least once. This were 15. Okay? 15 breaks up into 3 and 5. Because I'm already using 3s from my 9 here, I do not need to use that 3. Because I'm already using 3. Okay? Because I'm already using 3, I don't need this one. Okay? But I still have to use 5 because I don't have it used anywhere else. So I still have to use the 5. If I had If I had 30, I would have 2. Okay? I'd have 2, 3, and 5. I don't use the 3, but I do use the 2 and the 5.
What are you on?
These are examples.
Oh.
Okay? So I have to make sure I use every factor at least once, and the factor that I use the most, I don't have to use it from over here. Okay? Because I'm already using these 2 3s, I don't have to use this one. But I have to use the 2 and I have to use the 5. If I had okay. Now, if I have 18 right here, I have 2, 3, and 3, right? I'm still using my 3s twice, right? So I still have my 3s right here, which means I don't have to use this one. I have to use the 5, but I'm left with 2 2s. I only need to use one of them. Okay? So I only use one of them to put it right here. So I have 2 times 3 is 6, times 5 is 30, times 3 is 90. 90 is the smallest number that 30 and 18 will go into. All right? If I had this other 2, I would get 180, and 180 is not the smallest number that these 2 will go into. Yes, 30 and 18 will go into 180, but it's not the smallest it will go. If I have to take care of that too. I got to get that out of there to make it into a 90. So I have to make sure I use every factor at least once, and the factor I use the most, I don't have to use from the other number. Okay? I have to use every factor at least once, and the factor that's used the most, I don't have to use. I like hearing that, okay?
Nice.
Every factor, at least once.
This marker is on.
You've been saying that.
Okay, now,
One more Mr. Larson, I need a ticket.
finish up C and E. I already did D on the board. Finish up C and E.